Hello everyone. Hi guys, good evening to all of you. Should we start the class? We have 5 people in our class. Can you guys hear me clearly? Hello. Hello people. Hello Altaf, Dani, Yumna. Guys, can you all hear me clearly? Can hear? Solid. Should we wait for the others to join because there are about 20 people on our WhatsApp group. Should we wait for like 2 more minutes? We'll wait for like 2 more minutes. By the way, people, guys, I've uploaded a handout on to our WhatsApp group. Make sure to download it. I will share it on Zoom as well. Okay. Guys, by the way, now you can always unmute and speak. Huh? Please do that because this is the revision class, right? I want you to clear your doubts, whatever that you have as much as possible. Hello, Ilma. Okay, 1 more minute and then we start. Okay. Hi. You have joined right on time, huh? No worries, no worries. It's completely fine. Will your friends be joining today? No, not sure. Not sure. That's okay. They can always go through the recording. No issue. Please download the Excel sheet that I shared on the WhatsApp group, right? We'll get right down to business. Okay, right. So I'm sure there are, other people, who are not following my classes, joining this session. So, before we start, I think I need to give a small introduction about myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Rukmal Devinder. I'm a full-time lecturer attached to number of universities here in Sri Lanka. I'm primarily attached to University of London, where I deliver lectures for mostly finance and finance and portfolio management related subjects. So my bread and butter has always been finance. When I say finance, guys, it's financial mathematics. I love math, right? I love numbers. I've been lecturing for the past 7 years, guys. I have delivered lectures for so many programs in so many universities. When talking about professional lecture delivering, I have lectured for ACCA and CIMA programs for the past 5 years. I'm well aware about the programs, the structure, how your examiner tests you in not just PM but also in subjects like FM, APM, AFM, AA. Anyway, so you guys should not have any worry or any problems, right? By the end of this session, you should be able to tackle any and every question on the area that I'm going to look at today, which is costing techniques. Okay, guys, now let me start with a small explanation as to why I'm starting with costing techniques, right? So costing techniques in management accounting is a big deal now, right? It's a very, very big deal. Yes. So in PM, we basically start with basic costing techniques like ABC, throughput accounting, life cycle costing, target costing, So all these costing techniques are used in different contexts, right? So as far as your exam is concerned, these costing techniques are tested in your section B, right? Which is basically MCQ. So you get a small case study. Based on that, your examiner asks 5 questions where you have to, answer. So you don't have to provide any working for these, 5 questions. You can just use your rough papers or scratch pad to quickly jot down the figures and do your numerical calculations, and then what you do is you select the correct answer, right? Uh, Apart from that, costing techniques are very simple, guys. Yeah, we don't have a lot of technical things, a lot of situations where you have to think, right? In my opinion, you take areas like variances, performance analytics, they are the ones that are tested in your section C, right? In those, you have a massive numerical part as well as a writing part, right? I'm sure you know these. Yeah. So you need to quickly do the calculations, and then, you'll have to provide some explanations. Your examiner asks, why are you doing this? What is the reason? Pros and cons, different things. So I didn't want to start with, those questions right away, because, now you're going to sit for, PM exams in March, no, right? So I'm starting with a very simple area, costing techniques, and then into the next few weeks, I'll be looking at sections in accordance with how do I put it? I'll be looking at difficult chapters, the ones that are tested in section C towards the end of it. Then you'll have a fresh memory, right, on those areas, because those are the areas that are tested in your section C, right? Guys, I'm not worried about section A and section B, because you'll be able to do something in section A and section B, right? Because it's MCQs. Even if you don't know the answer, you can use the elimination method and then select the most appropriate answer. No? Yes, can do something. Yes, you can close your eyes and just click on answer and then finish it off. I'm not advising you to do that, but my point is you can do something. In section C, not like that, right? You have to show working, you have to, provide numerical justification along with a solid explanation. Do you understand that? So I'm keeping those areas for later, right? When I say later, obviously, into the next few weeks, right? This being, will you do the revision kit? Yes, Akram, yes. I will be looking at a few questions within these 3 hours, obviously, which are taken from the revision kit. Yes, yes. Okay. You can unmute and speak, right? Please speak, guys. Yeah, you can unmute, ask me whatever the doubt you have, or you can just send it to me directly. I will answer that, right? Stay after class. I will clarify your doubts, all your doubts, right? By the end of this session. Okay. Right. With that, people, I think we should get down to business. So people, why do we have costing techniques? Why are there so many costing techniques? Why is that? Can someone answer that question, please? Why? ABC, life cycle costing, target costing, throughput accounting. Yes. Why are those costing techniques there? I mean, why so many? Why is that? Ilma, care to answer? Yumna?
companies have to set an accurate selling price. And in order to set an accurate selling price, they need to find the right costing.
That's a solid answer, Ilma. Thank you. Solid answer, right? People now, all these companies that we are looking at in MA, most of them are manufacturing companies now. Well, 99% of the companies that are there in your case studies, they're manufacturing companies. Yes, here and there you have service providing organizations, but it's very well. The questions are very less on those, on those types of organizations. So any organization for that matter has to come up with a correct price now, because if the price is wrong, game over. Right? If the price is too high, people are not going to buy. If the price is too low, again people are not going to buy. So what is the right price? So in pricing, costing techniques become very, very important. Ilma, that's a solid answer. That is the answer, right? Thank you very much. Okay, so like I said, we have ABC, we have life cycle costing, throughput accounting, target costing, yes. Yeah. All these four costing techniques are tested in section B, people. Section B, remember that. Okay, not section C. Yes, section B. So you need to know the costing techniques. You need to practice as much as you can for you to get a good idea, right? You can't just keep looking at the notes, right? Study Hub, Kaplan, or my notes, people who are following my classes, you can't just keep looking at them, right? And try to remember all of them. No point, right? You should be able to apply it, right? Application is what is important at this level, people. Do you understand that? Right. Okay. ABC. We are going to start with a question on ABC. Before I look at ABC, now tell me, what were the traditional costing techniques that were there like back then? Traditional costing techniques. What were those techniques? Anyone? Please answer. Yumna, what were those? Yes, absorption costing, very good. And what else? Marginal costing. Thank you, Ilma. Ilma is answering left and right, people. Ilma, you should let other people answer, right? Let other people answer. Okay, but yes, thank you. So traditional costing techniques are basically absorption and marginal. So guys, these costing techniques were used back then. When I say back then, I'm talking during, the Industrial Revolution. I'm talking about 1940s, early 1900s, right? That's when, people started mass manufacturing things now, right? You take Henry Ford, his assembly line, right? He was the one who, gave birth to assembly line and mass, manufacturing. Yeah. So why were these costing techniques used, only like, during those times? Why? People, number one, at that time, companies only had one or two products. Now, you take Ford, right? Model T was the only car that they, mass produced at that time, right? Only Model T. There you go. They didn't have that much of technology back then, obviously. It wasn't like, today. So they used a lot of labor to do their work, right? So when you have one or two products, and when your production is highly labor intensive, yeah, costing techniques like absorption and marginal, well, they're very appropriate. They're very suitable. Do you understand that? Yeah, but now you take modern manufacturing people, you can't use absorption and marginal. Yes, right. Okay, with that, I'm gonna straight away, talk about ABC. Now, what is the distinguishing feature of ABC compared to other costing techniques? What is the distinguishing feature, guys, compared to other costing techniques? Anyone? Yuna? Udani? Altaf, Akram, Abdul, anyone? What's the, what's so special about ABC? What is the reason for using ABC? What kind of companies use ABC? Hmm? Ilma, please unmute and speak. Anyone? Don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. ABC identifies what drives the cost. Very good. Very good. That's a solid answer. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So building on that, now I can say ABC is a scientific method of allocating costs. No, it's scientific. Provides more accurate method of. Okay. Abdul, just remember ABC is mostly used in the manufacturing, segment. Do you understand that? Yeah, ABC definitely helps you to understand your costs in a better way. The special feature of ABC is that, like Yumna said, ABC says for a cost to arise, there has to be some, activity. Companies that are performing a wide variety of operations use ABC to accurate absorption of costs. Okay, yeah, right. Acceptable. Yes, by assigning indirect costs to products on the very good. Okay, Akram, that's a solid answer, right? That's a solid answer. ABC allocates costs into cost pools where traditional costing allocates only for machine hours, labor hours. Brilliant. Solid, Altaf? That's a solid answer. Akram, brilliant answer. ABC allocates indirect costs to products, right? Akram, solid. The use of the words, right? Technical terms, indirect costs. Indirect costs are the costs that we cannot directly identify with the production, right? For example, electricity, depreciation, most of the costs that are arisen in manufacturing companies nowadays, they are indirect, yes, because you don't see a lot of people working in manufacturing facilities, people, right? You have, robots, all kinds of new technologies, yeah, robotic arms, robots, yeah. You take, I'm sure you guys have seen these videos on YouTube. In modern manufacturing facilities, you don't see people at all. You see a lot of machines, assembling the parts, like fixing things into like a car, right? All that is done through, machines and, sorry, all that is done through machines and, robots, right? So, you have a lot of costs, like, repairs, breakdowns, lubricating the machines. Now, how do you identify those costs with the level of production? Not possible, yeah. Can you say something like this? Okay, for every car, I need to replace like two parts in this machine, right? Whenever I produce like one car, I have to lubricate the machine, right? I have to lubricate the machine twice. So this is how much lubricant I need per car. You can't track, like that, people. It's very difficult, right? So ABC says, look here, if there is a cost, there has to be some activity. If you want to control the cost, you identify the activity, right? You bring it down. Then the cost automatically goes down. That is why we say ABC is very scientific. It is scientific, yes. Right. Brilliant. So ABC helps us with allocating indirect costs. Do you understand that? Indirect costs. Right. So with that, we'll straight away look at the question, right? Okay. Please open the Excel sheet that I shared, guys, on the WhatsApp group. Yeah. Please open it. One sec. Right. Okay. Please have a look. Okay. I'm gonna show my grid lines. Okay, have a look, people. Right. So, obviously I had taken, section C questions which were tested like long time back, people. Long time back. Why? For you to get a good idea on anything, you have to answer. Well, my advice is answer section C questions, right? Because in section C, in most of the cases, you are going to have to do a lot of calculations. With calculations, it's going to be easier for you to understand the logic, people, right? Okay, so the first question is on ABC. People, this is a joke, right? Very, very simple, right? That's what I'm telling you. It's not a joke, obviously, but it's simple, right? So it's a joke, right? Anyway, let's have a look. This is a question from 2010. Okay, right. So, guys, you never read the scenario, right? You get your paper, right? You never read the scenario. You always go through the requirements. You identify the area that is tested and you prep your mentality, right? To tackle that question, right? Let's have a look. So for 5 marks, what do they ask you to do? Calculate the full cost per unit for products ABC under traditional absorption costing using direct labor hours as the basis of apportionment, right? So first question, we have to use ABC to identify the full cost. People, full cost, what the hell is that? Full cost is direct cost plus indirect cost. Do you understand that? So traditional absorption costing, what does it tell you? How does it treat, your indirect costs? Traditional absorption costing takes all the indirect costs into one, right? You understand that? And they say, okay, factory overheads, right? Indirect costs. You are going to see just one big figure, right? Then those costs are going to be allocated to each of these 3 products based on what? Direct labor hours, right? So here, guys, they are telling you calculate the OAR based on direct labor hours. Do you understand that? Right. Part B, calculate the full cost using ABC, 9 marks. Very simple. Using your calculations from A and B above, explain how activity-based costing may help Gadget improve the profitability of each product. Right. Okay. Let's have a look. So this is how we are going to do questions, people. I am going to give you some time to work this out on your own, right? And then we look at things together. Okay, right. Let me walk you through the question. The Gadget company produces 3 products, A, B, C, all made from the same material. Until now, it has used traditional absorption costing to allocate overheads to its products. The company is now considering an activity-based costing system in the hope that it will improve profitability. Information for 3 products for the last year is as follows, right? You have ABC. So they are, they want to, use ABC. Why? Because they think that it's going to improve their profitability, right? Production and sales volumes are given, selling price is given, raw material, direct labor hours, machine hours, all that is given. Right. Here, you have some unconventional information, people. Number of production runs, number of production orders, number of deliveries to retailers, all per annum values, right? Okay, let's see. The price of raw material remained constant throughout the year at 1.2 per kilogram. Okay. Similarly, direct labor cost for the whole workforce was 14.8 per hour. The annual overhead costs were as follows. So they're telling you the raw material costs. They're telling you the direct labor cost. And they say annual overhead costs. All right. So what are the overheads? Setup costs, running costs, procurement, delivery. Right. Okay. So part A, calculate the full cost now. Right. Quickly identify the direct costs of ABC. Now you're going to have to use, a table, something to present your answer, right? So use of tables is very important, people, because when using tables, the amount of work that you have to do, it comes down. So you can use a, table like this, yeah, A, B, C, right? And then say direct costs, direct costs, yeah. Then you list the direct costs, people. So you have raw material, raw mat, and direct labor. There you go. These are your direct costs. Then indirect costs. Indirect costs. Right? So firstly, to identify the indirect costs per unit, you need to calculate the OAR, yeah? OAR, overhead absorption rate. How do you calculate this? Overhead absorption rate is budgeted overheads divided by budgeted activity level, no? Budgeted activity level. Very good. So here, your budgeted activity, they clearly tell you that it's direct labor. So you put budgeted direct labor hours. Direct labor hours, DL hours. Right. Okay, go ahead, people. I'll give you 5 minutes. Quickly do the calculation. 5 minutes, huh? Right. I think that's enough time. Guys, Ilma solid. Guys, make sure to do these calculations on the Excel sheet itself, because at the end of the day, you're going to no worries, no worries. You're going to have to do this on the ACCA exam platform now, right? So let's do this on the Excel sheet itself, right? You need to, get the hang of this, typing, doing things, let's start now itself. You have enough and more time to practice, people. 1 month is more than enough. Trust me when I say that, but you need to keep doing things on Excel, right? Okay, direct costs. People, they say direct material usage per unit, it's 2, no? It's 2. So they say price of material was 1.2. So we need to multiply each of these figures by 1.2, no? So I'll do that 2 into 1.2, right? Very good, very good. People are sending me answers. That is solid. 3 into 1.2. Then C, 4 into 1.2. Oops. Done. So that's my raw material cost, yeah? So I'll just copy this here. Direct labor. Direct labor, what do they say, guys? Direct labor, blah, blah, blah. Hours per unit, 0.1, no? 0.1 hours. They have paid 14.8 per hour. So we need to multiply each of these figures, yeah? 0.1, 0.15, 0.2 by 14.8, yeah? 14.8. And then this one, 0.15 by 14.8. And then 0.2 by 14.8. Yep. Right. So these are my direct costs, no? So I'll put the total. I'll put the total like this. Yeah. 3.88, 5.82, 7.76. Okay. Let's calculate the OAR now. Budgeted overheads, guys. So the total overheads, right? OAR basically assumes that we can allocate the overheads based on just one activity level. Yeah, right. So we need to get the total 26,555 plus 66,400 plus 48 and 54,320. Done. So 195,270 is my total budgeted overheads, people. Yeah. Direct labor hours. Now we need to calculate the direct labor hours. So total direct labor hours are going to be, we need to multiply each of these figures by the number of units now, right? So I will say 0.1 into 15,000 plus 0.15 into 12,000 plus 0.2 into 18,000. Yeah. Is it 6,900 people? Budgeted direct labor hours, right? So you get the division. It's 28.3. There you go. This is my OAR per direct labor hour, no? Per DL hour, right? So based on this only, we allocate the indirect costs into our product. So per hour, it's this much. How many hours does A require? 0.1, no? 0.1. So therefore, we need to multiply 28.1 by 0.1, 2.81. Sorry, this should be 28.3, no? Right. It's 2.83. Here, 28.3 into 0.15. Here, 28.3 into 0.2. There you go, indirect costs. So now we can get the full cost. 6.71, 10.1, 13.4. People, now getting this answer is absolutely nothing, right? Now, even in the exam, some questions will be very easy, right? Make sure to show your answer very clearly like this, right? Because it makes your examiner's life a bit easy, right? He should be able to like understand your working. As soon as he looks at this, okay, we'll be like, okay, this candidate, very good, right? Shown the answers very clearly, solid. Now you might not have the time to, show these lines and all that people, but at least, leave lines, right? Put headings, highlight, bold, can do those, yes? This is to make your examiner's life a bit easy, people. Do you understand that? Yeah. After all, people, these are marked by human beings, not robots, right? So your working should look pleasant on the eyes, right? Now, obviously, you will not be able to maintain this pleasantness consistently. But even for these questions, like easy ones, easy parts, do that. Okay, right. Now, we have found the full cost per unit, based on OAR for ABC. Now we need to do the full cost calculation using ABC, right? People, now in doing the working, right? I'm sure this is not going to be that difficult, right? So let me highlight this. Okay, so how do we do ABC, people? How do we do it? Right? First step is to, find the cost per driver. You need to find the cost per driver, right? So you say, firstly, now, this is my way of like, making it easy, right? Especially in remembering how to, quickly apply ABC into a question. So firstly, you start with cost and then the cost pool and then uh, cost cost driver, cost driver, and cost per driver, cost per driver. Right. Okay. So this is the working, guys. Yeah, this is the working. Right. Okay. Now these are my headings. Right. Okay, let's do the working very, very fast. I will do the working for just one line item. You do the rest. Right. Okay. We'll start with machine setups. Say machine setups. Right. Okay. So what is the cost? Cost is 26,550. Yeah, 26,550. Yes, right. Cost driver. Now, people, how do you think cost setup costs are arisen? How do you think? What should be the cost driver, for this cost? Will it be purchase orders? Will it be deliveries? Unlikely, yeah? Unlikely. Production runs, yes. You select the most appropriate one, people. Definitely production runs, yeah? So what do they say? Production runs per annum. This is per annum, people. There you go, 16, 12, 8, right? So therefore, we say cost driver, production runs. Production runs, right? Now we need to find the cost driver, people. Yeah, cost driver is going to be the addition of these runs. Yeah, so we have 16, 12 and 8, no? 16, so we'll add them. Yeah, 16, 12 and 8. Done. 36. So my machine setup costs are driven because of production runs, right? Altogether, I have done 36 production runs for each of these three products, right? In total. So therefore, I can calculate the machine setup cost per production run, right? So therefore, we can simply divide this value by this value. There you go. 738 is, well, 737.5, right? Do they say that we need to, show the answer in certain decimal points? No. So we can take it to the nearest absolute value, 738 per production run. Per production run. Yep. There you go. Machine setups done. Now, do you think you can Do you think you can do the rest on your own? Right? Do the rest on your own, people. So if we select machine hours per unit in cost driver, is it wrong? Machine setup costs. Right. Machine hours. Now think about it, Udani. Very good question. Yeah. So Udani is asking me, sir, what if I take machine hours, to allocate this, as the cost driver for machine setup. Now think about it, Udani. So you do a setup, right? Whenever now setup, think about your setup, in this way. So you need to reconfigure the machine or something, right? You need to fix new things, something, right? You need to change parts, right? So you do a production run for A, right? And then you do a production run for B, right? So whenever you switch from A to B, you need to, I don't know, remove a certain part or something. Do you understand that? That's how you need to think about this machine setup cost. So machine setups, it will be somewhat unlikely to be driven by something like machine hours. Do you understand that? So, setups are going to be carried out, whenever you do a run, yeah, you do a run for a certain product, right? For a certain batch, and then you do the next run. So when you do runs like that, you'll have to configure the machines. That's the idea. Yeah. Even they have machine running costs. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Clear. Very good. I hope that you understood, Yumna. So, you need to take the most appropriate one, right? So here they have machine running costs, no? To allocate this cost, we can definitely use machine hours. Do you understand that? Running cost. Setup, it's a bit different. Understood, right? Good question, right? Please do the rest. 2 more minutes. So obviously, guys, for you to, allocate machine hours, machine running costs, you have to use machine hours, no? Right? So you need to find the total machine hours. Per unit, it's given, no? Per unit, the hours are given. So we'll quickly get the value. 0.5 into 15,000 plus 0.7 into 12,000 plus 0.9 into 18,000. Right. Total machine hours are 32,100. Yes. So you get the machine running cost per hour. Right. There you go. 2.06 something. People will round this up to 2.1. Right. 2.1 because it's 2.07. No. 2.1. So you can say per machine hour. Right? Procurement, obviously, people, procurement has to be, this cost is definitely rising because of purchases. So we have to take purchase orders, right? So I'll say purchase orders, POs, right? What are your POs? 24, 28, 48. 28, sorry, number of POs, 24, 28, and 42. 94, right? 94. So therefore, you calculate the procurement cost per PO, 510 point something, people. So we'll round this off to 511, right? Per PO, per purchase order. Understood? Right. Last one, delivery. Delivery, obviously, we use the last one, number of deliveries, no? So we'll say number of deliveries. How many? How many people? 48 plus 30 plus 62. 140. So you get the delivery cost per delivery. Understood? It's 388 on the dot. 388 per delivery. Done. So we are done with the first working in our ABC calculation, people. Yes, right. What we have the cost per driver, no? Right. So now what you need to do is you need to find the cost per unit, right? Cost per unit, right? These are not per unit, you know, guys. See, it's per run, per machine hour, per PO. So now you need to, identify the cost per hour. Sorry, cost per unit. My bad. So what do you need to do? Before you find the cost per unit, right? Find the total. Find the total for each units A, B, C. For example, find the machine setup cost of A. Find the machine setup cost of B. Find the machine setup cost of C. In totals, let me tell you. Let me show you. So you can say, put a small heading, cost per driver, or you can how do I show this? ABC cost per driver. We can how do I show this, people? Come up with the table. We'll say unit. So we need to get the total now, right? So total, we'll do something like this, people. Yeah, we'll say ABC, right? A, B, C, right? Okay. So we find, let's say, machine setup cost. Machine setup cost. Setup cost, right? Now, right. So total, I need to get the total, people. Yeah. So it's 738 per run, right? 738 per run. No? So how many runs have I done for A, right? How many runs have I done for A? For A, guys, how many runs? It's 16. There you go. Into 16. This is the total machine setup cost of A. Right? Like that, you find the total. This into what is the total machine, sorry, runs for B? It's 12, no? So this into 12, right? This into number of runs, how many for C? For C runs 8. Done. There you go. I found the machine setup cost in total, right? Are we clear, people? Like that, you find the machine, you do the same thing for other costs, machine running, right? So per hour it's 2.1, per hour it's 2.1, yeah? How many hours have we done for A? So to check that, people, you can look at this now. It's 2.1, right? Per hour, total hours, it's 15,000 into 0.5, yeah? 15,000 units into 0.5 because it's 0.5 per hour. There you go, 15,750, right? Like that, this is the cost per machine hour, right? So how many units? 12,000. 12,000. That into what is the machine hours per unit? 0.7. There you go. Right? And then this one, 2.1 into number of units, 18,000. And what is the machine hours per unit? 0.9. Done. There you go. I found the machine running costs for each product in total, right? Guys, do you get this? Do you understand this? Did everyone understand the working? Guys, how are we doing? Can do, right? Can do? Right, very good, very good. Okay, keep doing it, people. Keep doing it, yes? We'll finish this off. Procurement. Procurement. Procurement, it's 511 per PO. How many POs? How many POs are we looking at? 24. And this into 28. And this into 40. Done. Procurement. Delivery. Delivery. Right. So it's 388 per delivery. How many deliveries have we done for A? It's 48, no? 48. This into 48, 30, 1160, 11640. 388 into how many deliveries have we done for C? It's 62. There you go. People, I have found, the overhead costs for each of these products, right? Separately, right? Now you can say total overheads. Total overheads. Now I know to produce A, this is the overhead charge, right? To produce B, this has been the overhead charge. To produce C, this has been the overhead charge. There you go. Right? Now what do? Now I can divide this by the number of units and then say, okay, this is the overhead cost per unit now. Do you understand that? See how easy and how logical the method is, people, right? So we copy this same table, right? We copy this same table here, right? So here I want you to say per unit. This now total number of units of A, 15,000. 3.9. This one. How many units? 12,000. How many units? C, 18,000. There you go, people. 4.72. Now what do I do? Now I change the indirect cost, no? 3.9, 4.35, and 4.72. There you go. Now I have my full cost as per ABC, right? Yeah. There you go, people. I found my full cost according to ABC. Not a big deal at all. Yes. See, you can now when you use your platform to show your answers, one good thing, people, is copy paste them, right? You can quickly do that and finish writing answers, finish typing answers. Now we can answer part C, right? Say part C. What do they ask in part C? Using your calculation from A and B, explain how ABC may help Gadget to improve profitability of each product, right? People, now, we'll put the total cost breakdown, no? Right? We can now, for us to come up with a good analysis, right? They ask us to, using your blah blah blah, help Gadget, right? So we'll show Gadget, right? Full cost according to full cost as per absorption costing, right? What is the full cost as per absorption costing? A, how much was it? 6.71. B, 10.065. And C, 13.4. Right? Then we'll say full cost as per ABC. Full cost as per ABC. And then we'll link these values: 7.78, 10.17, and 12.5. Very good. Yeah. Guys, now I want you to look at these two values and come up with a simple analysis, right? So according to ABC here, right, the full cost is 7.78. Here it's 6.71, no? Right? So full cost is actually underestimating your cost, right? So we can say A is underestimated. A's cost is underestimated. Underestimated by how much? By, you take the difference. This minus this. Yeah. This minus this. It's underestimated by $1.65, people. Right? What about B? B also underestimated. No? B's cost is underestimated by how much? So B minus 10.065 from 10.17. That's just 10 cents, people. Not a big deal. Here it is, kind of a big deal. Yeah, $1. There is a $1.1 difference. Yeah, 1.065. So I can say 1.1. Here, guys, do you see that C's cost is overestimated? C's cost is overestimated. Overestimated by how much? We take these two difference between these two, almost by $1. Almost by $1. There you go. Now you can say something about this. Yes, people, when it comes to pricing, right? So ABC is going to be very, very helpful. Now, especially A, right? So according to your full costing, absorption costing method, the cost is only 6.7. But according to ABC, it's almost, $8, no? $8, yeah. Right? So you can say there is a $1 difference. Now you may think that $1 is sort of insignificant, but people, you're producing A by like thousands, no? You understand that? You're producing A by thousands, 15,000, 20,000. So when you take those full units, right, the underestimation is going to be somewhat significant, no? Do you understand that? Yes. Here, it's just, you know, 0.1 difference. You can ignore this. This can be ignored, right? It's just 10 cent different, right? Not that important, not material, right? Here again, it's material, yeah, because you have a $1 difference. Yes, almost $1. Here, more than $1, right? So now what we can do, people, what can we say? So help. So what you need to say is, B, according to ABC and absorption costing, the cost analytics show us that the two costs are almost the same, right? So you can say these costs as per ABC and absorption costing is almost the same. It's almost the same, right? However, there is a significant difference between full costs calculated using ABC and absorption method in product A and C. Guys, now, I want you to like highlight the seriousness of this problem to the examiner, right? There is a significant difference, right? $1, like I said, it may not seem that significant, but when you look at in total values, it is going to be significant. Do you understand? Are we clear? Yes. So guys, now, when A prices, when this company, when Gadget prices A, right? So the correct selling price is going to be much higher, no? They must be adding a profit margin. We don't know that, right? So A selling price is underestimated. Do you understand that? So you can say, as per the information above, it is clear that product A's price is undervalued, right? Because see, according to ABC, the cost is 7.78. So you add your profit margin to this, you're going to get a much higher value, compared to the value that you're going to get here, right? So price is undervalued. Do you understand that? Yeah. Product A is undervalued, and at the same time, product C is overvalued, no? And product C's price is overvalued. So, I'm sure this issue is discouraging some consumers in buying A and C, right? You can say this may cause issues customers who purchase product A and C. You understand that? This may cause issues. So customers, I don't know, they might not be willing to buy C, now A's value is undervalued, no, right? A's price is undervalued. So people might think A is not of good quality, right? At the same time, for product C, it's the other way around. Yes, people will think, oh my God, the price is too high. Do you understand that? So the customer perceptions are going to change if you, use ABC to cost your products, right? if company uses ABC, इसमें how do I put this? This may change customer perceptions about price and quality of product A and C. Right, there you go. Okay. So guys, now basically I'm saying good things about ABC. I'm basically telling good things about ABC. Try to plug in, bad things as well. Be neutral. Do you understand that? Tell the examiner, you know why ABC is good and you know why ABC is bad at the same time. Now, here guys, they are producing only three products now, altogether, right? B, you can ignore because the cost information according to ABC and absorption costing, they're more or less the same. So we can say B is correctly priced, but not A and C. So why do you have to do, why do you have to go to all this trouble just to make corrections to these two units, right? Implementing ABC for an organization who's producing just three products might not be that valid adding. You end your answer with that, right? Right? Do you understand? Yes. Yes. Very good. Yes. Time consuming. Very good. So talk about something, right? Can say. On the contrary, using an approach, using a time-consuming and complex methods such as ABC for an organization who is producing just three products might not be valid adding. There you go. This is a full answer, people. Right? Throw in some negatives as well. Right? Do you get it? People, I want you to write short sentences. Right? Don't write long sentences. Right? Try to keep it short and sweet. Right? When the examiner goes through this, he or she will understand, okay, this candidate has properly understood the question, right? And he's coming up with some logical points. People, 6 marks, no, it doesn't mean that you have to write 6 points. No, as long as your analysis is, strong, you get marks. Are we clear? Are we clear, people? Does anyone have any doubts, questions? You can come up with your own points as long as it's logical, practical. You don't have to come up with these, right? But this overestimation, underestimation, it has to be shown, people. So here we can say can ignore the difference. Right? Are we clear, people? Does anyone have any questions? Any questions, people? Any questions? Ilma, any questions? No. Akram, Abdul, Udani, Fatima, any questions? No, nothing. All good. All good. Brilliant. Right. Okay, solid. Done. Now, with this, I'm going to conclude, my discussion on ABC. Now, brilliant. Guys, now you need to do questions on your own, right? Maybe look at one or two, questions on ABC, on top of this, 2 other questions, that should be fine, right? Not a big deal, no? You understand how to do it, no? Right? You know where to start, you know what to do, you know how to do the working and all that. So not a big deal. That's why I say costing techniques tested in section B. right? Your examiner knows that you get this, right? He doesn't want to test you a lot on, costing techniques because of that. Okay, right. The next question, people. So I have selected so many, right? So many. We'll do. Let's do. So some of these questions are very narrative based. Yeah. Now you don't get questions like this, but I put them just for your reference, right? We'll talk about it. Can we do? Okay, let's do this. Oh no, this is section B question. We'll do this one. Big cheese. Let's do big cheese, people. Right? So here you have target costing and learning curve, right? So, I have shown the equation. Now I'm sure you guys will know what to do here. So for 8 marks, they ask you to calculate the average cost for the first 1 to 8 shares. Now, target costing. Let me give you a brief idea. Target costing, people. Well, what is target costing? Yeah. Now I explain target costing, in class using Tata Nano, right? So what happened? Let me quickly walk you through that, right? So that you'll get a at least brief idea. So in target costing, guys, this is what happens. Yeah. Tata Nano, right? The taxi that we have in our country. So Tata Nano, came into existence as a result of target costing, right? So what happened was, Tata in India, they went into the market, right? They understood there is a massive, there is a big need that is not satisfied in the market. What is that? There are lots of people who want to buy, who want to have a vehicle, who want to buy a vehicle, but they can't because either the price is too low or the vehicle is not big enough, or the price is too high and the vehicle is too expensive, right? So they were like, okay, we understand that you all need a car, but we also understand that you don't have a lot of money to buy a car. How much are you willing to pay, let's say, to buy a car? That's what they asked. So they went into the market. They asked people, how much are you willing to pay, right? Then the research indicated that people wanted a car for 100,000 rupees, right? That is the starting point of target costing people. You ask people how much they're willing to pay, right? Then you know the selling price. 100,000 is my selling price. Then what do? You decide a profit margin, right? Okay. So massive market, a lot of people. So, per car, if we can take 10% profit, should be enough, right? Because mass scale, no, right? Mass scale manufacturing, lot of cars, lot of profits. So per car, 10%. Now you have the profit margin, you have the selling price. Now you can calculate the cost now. That is your target cost, right? Let's say selling price is 100,000, right? Profit margin, let's say 10%. 10%. So that's 10,000. That's 10,000. Yeah. Oops. Just put 10,000. Yeah. 10,000. So now you know the cost. Cost is 90,000. Yes. This minus this 90,000. This is your target cost. Target cost. Understood, right? So this is, very unconventional, people. Now, usually, even in ABC, right, you come up with the selling price based on your cost. In target costing, completely different, right? It's a backward approach, right? So we call these, systems where the entrepreneur, the company comes up with the price. We call those, push systems. So I come up with a product, I decide the selling price, I push it into the market. Target costing, you go to the market, you ask them how much they're willing to pay, right? And then based on that, you identify the cost. So it's a pull system, right? Most of the costing techniques are push systems, but target costing, it's a pull system. Pull. Understood? So you pull this out of the market, right? Then what do? You start your prototype testing. Prototype testing. Yeah. So this is where you try to manufacture one car within 90,000, right? Prototype testing. Let's say your prototype testing indicates that for you to build this car, it costs 120,000. But you wanted to build this car at 90. So this difference is called the target cost gap. Target cost gap. Right? So what do you need to do? Right? What do you need to do? You need to bring this down to zero. You have to bring this down to zero. Now you start thinking, okay, how do I do it? Right? Maybe I'll get some parts from another country. I'll get, semi-skilled people to work in my factory. Right? I'll use, cheap material, something to bring this down, people. Do you understand that? That is target costing. Are we clear? Anyone? Anyone? Any questions? So here you have target costing coupled with learning curve, right? So learning curve, this is revision, people. So you should be able to remember all these things, right? Even if you can't, it's fine. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to refresh your memory. Learning curve tells you, as you keep working on a certain activity, the time you spend on that activity gradually falls, right? You become an expert on it, right? So, learning curve is very, very appropriate in target costing, people, right? Because, now in these questions, people, we assume that our direct labor cost is 14.8 throughout, no? For 15,000, 20,000, even if we produce 500 units, we are like, okay, my direct labor cost is 14.8. That's wrong. Learning curve tells you, the more you produce, the more you become an expert, and therefore the lesser the time that you spend on, working on it. So you can bring your labor hours down. Through that, you can bring your labor costs down. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions, people? Any questions? So this is revision. I'm trying to refresh your memory on different things, right? So this is costing coupled with learning curve. Yeah. Right. Okay. Should we go through this, people? Shall we look at this? I'll give you time to work this out on your own, but let me walk you through the question now. Yeah. Okay. Firstly, what we do is we look at the requirement, right? Calculate the average cost for the first 28 shares made and identify any cost gap that may be present at that stage. So I have to find the average cost for the first 128 shares made, right? And then identify any cost gap, right? Blah, 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 right? Let's do this, right? Part B, assuming that a cost gap exists for the chair, assuming that a cost gap for the chair exists, suggest 4 ways in which it could be closed. So you have to come up with, ways to bring your gap down. Part C, calculate the cost of the 128th chair and state whether the target cost is being achieved on the 128th chair. Right, people. So can we do this? Right? This is very simple. Calculate the average cost for the first 128 shares made for the entire 128 shares, right? And identify any cost gap. Right, we'll do it. Let's go through this. Big Cheese chairs, BCC manufactures and sells executive leather chairs. They are considering a new design of massaging chair to launch into the competitive market in which they operate. Okay. They have carried out an investigation in the market using a target costing system and have targeted a selling price of 120 for the chair. People, we know the price, right? So they are going to, design a new massaging chair, right? So they have done an investigation and identified the selling price, right? People are willing to pay $120 for this chair. BCC wants a margin on selling price 20%. So you can calculate the, target cost now, right? So if 120 is the selling price, right, and the margin is 20%, you can calculate the cost now. That's what I did here, right? Do that. Okay. The frame and massage mechanism will be bought in for 51 per chair, and BCC will upholster it in leather and assemble it ready for dispatch. So they are going to get the frame for 51. So this is definitely a cost that we have to bear in making or in manufacturing this chair. Leather costs 10 per meter, and 2 meters are needed for a complete chair, although 20% of all leather is wasted in the upholstery process. So you need 10 per meter and 2 meters. So you need 2 meters, but there is a wastage of 1.2. So, when you purchase leather, you have to consider the wastage as well, right? So 2 meters is your, is the net meters that you need. You need to calculate the gross meters, right? So that you can, what do you call, account for this wastage. Now, for example, guys, here they say 2 meters, no, right? You're going to cut the leather, no, right? So, certain pieces are going to get wasted, right? So, therefore, the idea is 2 meters is not enough. You need to buy a little bit more than that, right? So, after cutting and all that, you need to have 2 meters. So, how much do you need to buy in total? You have to consider this 20%. Okay. Right. The upholstery and assembly process will be subject to a learning effect as the workers get used to the new design. BCC estimates that the first chair will take 2 hours to prep, but this will be subject to a learning rate of 95%. The learning improvement will stop once 120 chairs have been made, and the time for the 128th chair will be the time for all subsequent chairs. This cost of labor is 15 per hour. The learning formula is shown on the formula sheet. That is this, people. So Y is the average time. A is your time for the first unit, right? B is your learning B is your learning index of learning, and X is the total cumulative products. Yeah, blah blah 95 learning rate. The value of B is minus 0.074 is valid, right? Okay, people, let's do this. Right. Firstly, find the target price, target cost. Start with that. Start with that. So find the target cost. This is your first working, right? Hello, people. Guys, I'm very sorry. My internet got disconnected. The Wi-Fi application all of a sudden stopped working. Right. Okay. Very sorry about the delay, guys. Yeah. Okay. Hope you had time to work things out. Yes. Right. Let's do it. No big deal. Yeah. 1 second. Where's the file? Oh, nice. Some people are even done with the calculation. Solid, huh? Ilma, brilliant. Okay. Right. Let's quickly do this. People, so target cost. Guys, they say selling price. Selling price, okay. Ilma, brilliant. Right, we'll do this fast. Yeah, selling price. Selling price is 120, right? 120. So they say margin 20%, no? Margin 20%. So you multiply this by 0.2, 24. So target selling price, I'm sorry, target cost. Target cost should be this minus this, yeah? It's 96. Target cost is 96. Right. So I need to find the cost gap now, guys. To find the cost gap, right? I need to find the actual cost. Actually, this is my cost gap. This is the cost gap. Do you understand this? Yeah. This is my cost gap. Right. Let's find the actual cost now. Actual cost. Right. What do they say? Here they say they're going to buy the mechanism at 51. Right. So you can say cost of mechanism 51. Right. They say upholstery, you need 2 meters for a complete chair. Although 20% of leather is wasted, right? So how much leather do you want in full, people? So guys, they say 2 meters are required for a complete chair, right? They say 20% of total leather is wasted, right? So if I come up with a simple equation like this, total leather, right, that into 80%, right? This is the good percentage, right? You buy, let's say 100 meters, 80 meters is used, 20 is completely, it's wasted, right? That's your wastage. So what is that, the good meters that you need, the full meters, it's two, right? Two. So total leather, I don't know how much that is, but when I multiply it by 80%, that's 2 meters. This is what I want this is what I want to complete a chair. So now I can find the total leather, right? Total leather should be 2 divided by 0.8 now. So you convert this to a decimal. So total leather is going to be 2 divided by 0.8. Yeah. So that's how much? 2 divided by 0.8. We need 2.5. Yes, 2.5 meters of leather, right? So therefore, I can say leather cost, it's 2.5 meters into 10 per meter, no? They say 10 per meter. So it's 25. There you go. So we have this and we have this. Right. Yeah. Now we need to talk about the labor cost, right? So here they say blah, blah, blah. So the learning improvement will stop once 128 shares have been made, right? And the time for the 128 share will be the time for all shares. Cost of labor is 15. So I need to find the average time per share when I make 128 shares, yeah? So I need to make use of the learning curve equation. So I will say labor working, direct labor working, right? So have to apply learning curve, no? So I'll say equation y is equal to ax to the power b, right? A is time for the first unit, no? Time for the first unit, right? X cumulative units, cum units, and then b, that's your index of learning, no? Index of learning, right? So we'll plug the numbers in. Y is equal to A. What is A, people? A is the time for first chair. BCC estimates that first chair will take 2 hours. There you go. So we multiply this by, yeah, A y is equal to 2, right? 2 into, what is x? Cumulative units, 128 shares, no? 128 shares. To the power index of learning, that is always given, people, this is the value. Minus 0.074 that, right? We'll put that value, people. Minus 0.07400 three zeros, 581. People, you have to plug all these values into your calculator. Do you understand that? Right? That's why they give you, the full value, right? With this many decimals. So plug in this entire value, into your calculator to get this answer. Understood? So can someone get me this value, please? What is this value, Ilma? You have to put the, yeah, I put the minus, yeah? There you go. To the power minus, right? See, this is the minus sign. So 2 into 128 to the power minus. What's this value? R. That's okay. Yeah, you have to put the minus value. Yeah, so we'll get the value, guys. How do you get it? Firstly, let me get this value. 1.396667 something. Ilma, can we put into the group, right? So that everyone can see your value. Is it 1.399 something? 1.399, sorry, 39667. Is everyone getting this value? Is everyone getting this value? Anyone who found this difficult? 1.39667. Yeah. There you go. This is the average hours. So what does this mean, guys? Y tells you average time per unit when making 128 shells. This is the average time. This is average time, obviously in hours, no? Guys, are we clear? Anyone having any problems with this calculation, right? So why am I doing this? They say calculate average cost for the first 128 chairs made. I have found the average time. There you go. So now I can get the labor cost. This is the average time per unit. So what do? I multiply this by the direct labor hour, direct labor rate, right? So you can say, therefore, the DL hours per unit is 1.39667. So direct labor cost 1.39667 into what is the per hour cost? They say labor cost is 15 per hour. No, we multiply this by 15. Multiply this by 15. Right. What is this value? 20.95. Thank you, Ilma. 20.95 is the answer. Done. People, I have found my direct labor cost. Are we clear? Is everyone clear on the working? Anyone who's not clear? Yes, Ilma. Ilma is okay. Udani, did you understand the working? Akram, Abdul, Yumna, any questions? Any questions? So now I can get the total actual cost, no? Total actual cost. So it's the addition of my highlighted values, 20.95, 25, and 51. People, it's 96.95. Oh, right. Actual cost is 96.95. Let me highlight this in green, right? So now I have found the actual cost. I can get the cost gap, no? Cost gap. So from the target cost, I need to minus the actual cost. Actual cost is 96.95. People, there is a gap of $0.95. Guys, are you clear? This is the answer. This is your answer, people. Are we clear? Are we clear? Right. So 8 marks, people. 8 marks. Not a big deal, right? So majority of the working, majority of the marks will be allocated for this, this labor cost working, people, right? So it's a teeny tiny cost gap, teeny tiny, right? 0.95, but still it's a gap. Do you understand? You need to bring this to 95, right? Target cost and actual cost has to be the same. Actual cost is higher, so now you need to bring it down, people. Does that make sense? Are we clear? So assuming that a cost gap for the chair exists, I mean, there is no need to assume. We don't need to make any assumptions. There is a cost gap, right? So this is the answer to part A. Now we can say answer to part B. Answer to part B. Right. So assuming there is a cost gap, suggest 4 ways which it could be closed. People, now come up with methods. Come up with methods to bring this down. What can we do? What can we do, people? What can we do? I need practical answers. Think. So they talk about like 3 things. No, they talk about leather costs. They talk about this mechanism, and the labor cost. Right? Tell me 3 things, people. Yeah. Anyone? Think. For example, right now, this massage mechanism, they are going to buy it from another party, right? Can't we make this in-house? Can't we, make this inside the factory rather than buying it from another party, right? People in relevant costing, remember, buy from inside, right? There was this area that that you discuss in the relevant costing chapter, right? Make in-house or purchase from outside. So you can suggest that, right? That's a logical answer, right? You can say the massaging mechanism could be manufactured in-house so that data, one second, so that the cost can be brought down. There you go. Okay, what else? What else? What can
So
we
can we
suggest?
reduce the wastage that we are having so that the leather cost will come down to 24 and therefore the total cost will be 95. So there won't be a cost gap.
So okay, that's a brilliant answer. So Ilma, you're saying we need to reduce the wastage. Very good. That's a solid answer. Okay, brilliant. We can write that definitely. That's a very, very practical answer. Reduce the wastage of leather used Reduce the wastage of leather used in upholstery process. Very good. What else? Very good. What else, Ilma? What else can we suggest? Four ways. We need four ways. So you're paying 15 per labor hour, no? Right? That's quite high. Yeah. Can't we use like semi-skilled labor? Because now here you have a learning effect, no? So the people are going to keep doing just one thing. They're going to, become experts at this activity. So might as well use, semi-skilled labor can do that. We can reduce our labor cost, no? Right? So we can say, since there is a learning effect, it is possible to give more training. No, Ilma, if we provide more training, the cost is going to increase. Yeah. My suggestion is this. See, I need to bring the cost down. So I'm paying 15 per labor hour, right? So, don't pay 15. So how can I avoid paying 15? Use semi-skilled or unskilled labor, right? Unskilled might not be, that appropriate because this is a unique sort of a massage channel, right? Uh, you provide more training, the cost is going to go up, right? I understand your point. Yes, more training means people are going to become more efficient. But in this case, right? Right. Okay. You have a learning effect. No? So people are going to do the same activity, right? So don't use a lot of skilled labor. Use semi-skilled ones. Use semi-skilled labor. Semi-skilled labor to bring the labor cost down. To bring the labor cost down. Labor cost down. There you go. Yes. What else? What else can we suggest? Yeah. Anything. Guys, now what you need to remember is there is no one right answer for questions like this. As long as it's practical, you get marks. Right? Buy another massage thingy from a cheaper supplier. Like you're asking this company, to buy the massage table from another party and sell it in the market. Ilma, that then you don't need any costing. Yes, I mean you're just buying and selling. No, might not be that a massage thingy from another cheaper supplier. The first one. Okay, look for another supplier who can supply this at a low cost. Okay. Something else. Now, we have already talked about that, no? Like that particular component. You manufacture it in-house. So, yeah, get it from another supplier. Something different. Don't ever say increase the price, right? That's not an option, nah? People, if I increase the price to 122, then your target cost is going to be higher than the actual cost. No, that's never a solution. Remember that. I don't know. Yeah. Uh, Ilma, as if you don't have any solid points, write whatever that comes into your mind, but make sure that it's practical, right? Yeah, Ilma, can we say, okay, get leather from a cheaper supplier or something, right? See if you can, get leather from a cheaper supplier. Yeah, reduce profit margin. Yeah, no, don't reduce the profit margin. That's bad for you. I don't, no, that's not good for you, right? Yeah, leather. We'll talk about leather, right? Uh, find, you know, get, obtain leather supplies from a cheaper supplier, there you go. Right? Yeah. But don't say profit margin, right? Profit margin, don't reduce that because that's bad for me. Yes. Very interesting answer. Right? Very interesting answer. As long as your answer is practical, people, you get marks. People, are we clear? Is everyone clear? Abdul, Akram, Fatima, Udani, Yumna. Hello, people. Are you guys there? Awfully quiet people. How are we doing? Yes. Yes. Okay. Cool. You guys are there now? Understood. Right. Okay. Brilliant. People, remember, there is no one right answer. As long as your answer is practical, you get marks. Do you understand that? Right? Don't think as if it's like a big deal. No, it's not. Be practical. Yeah. Reduce weather lay stage. Brilliant. Solid answer. Learning effect. You can use semi-skilled labor. Another practical answer. Are we clear? Right. Part C. Let's look at part C. Calculate the cost of the 128th chair made and state whether the target cost is being achieved on the 128th chair. Oh, people, we did a calculation like this in class not a long time back. You should be able to do this very fast, right? Right. So, yeah, exactly, Ilma. So, we'll do this part C, right? Part C, right? Okay. So, what's the logic, people? They want the cost of the 128 channel, right? I always type sorry. So apologies, I have to leave for some. Yes, yeah. The next class will be on next Monday, Abdul, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Right? So please do come. Clear out whatever the doubts that you have. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I completely understand. Yeah, no issue. Right. Cost of the 128 share. How do I find this? Right. Yeah. How do I find this? Good night. Yeah, no problem. How do I find this? Yeah. So I have to find the total cost of making 128 shares, total cost of making 127 shares, and then that difference is going to be the cost of the 128 share. No? Are we clear? Yes, different. Ilma, 128, 129. No, it's 128, 127. It's not 128 and 129. You get it? That's a very common mistake. Oh, right. Brilliant. That's okay. That's completely fine. Because then your hours are going to be somewhat different, no? Like, let me show you. Now, you're saying after the 128 chair, the learning is not going to be there anymore. What does that mean? Now, for example, let's say for the first unit, you make 10 hours. For the second unit, you take 9 hours. For the third unit, let's say you take 5 hours. Let's say fourth unit, 4 hours. Fifth unit, 4 hours. Sixth unit, 4 hours. Let's say, see, 4 hours, throughout, yeah. After the fourth unit, your hours are going to be the same, right? Therefore, you need to consider 128, the number of units at which the learning ends, and the number of units before that. You got it? Right. Super. Solid. No problem. Yeah. So we'll say cost of the 128 share should be, oh gosh, total cost of making 128 shares minus, copy this, here, total cost of making 127 shares. There you go, people. This is your answer. This is how you get the answer, right? Okay, let's quickly take this and do the working. Total cost of making 128 shares, right? Right. Okay. So y equals axb, to the power minus b. Now I already know the y value at 128 shares now, right? I already know the y value, that's 1.39667. 1.39667. I know the y value already. So this is the direct labor per unit when making 128 shares. So I can get the total hours, right? So if this is per unit, for me to calculate the total labor hours for 128 shares, I multiply this by 128. No? Do you get it? So therefore, we can say 1.39667 into 128. What's that? 1.39667 into 128. That's 178.77. So this is, let me say, direct labor, total direct labor to make 128 shares, right? Get it? So what is the total cost? I multiply this value, right, 178.77 by 15. No, they say 15 per hour, right? So what is that? This into 15, 2,600 and blah blah blah. This is total direct labor cost to make 128 shares. Right, there you go. Now this working is done, people. Now let's do this working. Total cost of baking, I'll do that underneath this, right? Let me highlight this in this color, right? Okay. Total cost of making 127 shares, right? So now I have to get the y value, no? Get the y value. So what's my y value? Y is equal to a 2, no? 2 into x is 127 to the power minus 0.077, that value. Let me copy that. What I will copy this here. Right? Instead of 128, I put 127. That's it. Right? Can someone get me this y value? Can someone get me this y value? What is this y value? It is slightly, yes, anyone? Slightly higher or lower? Right, so it's 1.397485 Ilma. So I'll copy this here. 1.3975. Right, we'll take it as 1.3975. So many decimals. Like this. There you go. Yeah, that's my y value. So this is what? Direct labor per unit, direct labor hours per unit when making 127 shares. Yeah. Now I have to copy the same. I have to do the same working here as well. Right. So I need to multiply 1.39749. 39749. That into 127, no? To get the total hours, total direct labor hours to make 127 shares. What is this value? 1.39 39749. 178.88. So here 178.88. No? So it's 2,600. What? Hold on, guys. Did I make a mistake? Oh, did I multiply this wrong? Wait. This is 127. Yeah. Dilma, are these values correct? 740. 1 point. Yeah. Okay, wait. Huh? Wait, is the first value correct? 2, 7, 4, 0, 0, 1.39, 749 into, this is 127. No, sorry, people. Yeah. 177. There you go. I made a mistake. 177.48. That into there you go, people. Now, total direct labor cost to make 127 chairs. People, it was a a small mistake in the equation. Yeah. So 177 is your answer. Total direct labor hours, and this is the total cost. Now I can get the difference, right? I know the answer, right? So total cost of making 128 shares, that's 2,681.61. That minus total cost of making 127 shares, that is this much. So what's the difference? People, 19.39. Yeah, 19.39. Yeah, 19.4. Yes, 19.4. Okay, right. So we have answered the question. Wait. Calculate the cost of the 128 chair made. Right. Now we have to see whether the target cost is being achieved on the 128th chair. How do I calculate that? So this is the answer to part A, right? Okay, now I have to say, okay, data, target cost gap. Okay, so I know target cost is 96 now. From earlier, I know target cost. Where is that? Target cost is 96. Okay, so I know actual cost. Actual cost. Let's say without labor. Without labor, how much was that? Oopsie, wait. Actual cost without labor. So here, guys, I have to add this 51 cost of mechanism and the leather cost. Now, this is my actual cost without labor. Yeah, 51.25. Very good. Yes, 76. Yeah. Now we calculate the labor, right? We calculate labor cost. How do I calculate the labor cost? How do I calculate the labor cost? Now I know the total hours for 128 chairs. I know the total hours for 127 chairs. So I can get the hours for the 128 chair. You get it? So I know the total hours, to make 128 chairs. I know the total hours to make 127 chairs. So the difference between these two should be the hours to make that 128 channel. So therefore we can say time to make the 128 channel, right? So how do I get that? Total time for 128 chairs. How much is that? That is 178.77. Total time for 127 chance. How much is that? 177. We get the difference. Now, so difference, how much? This minus this, equal 1.29, right? So we assume that, our labor time per unit is going to be 1.29, right? So therefore, you can get the total labor cost now. 1.29 is the labor hours, that into the labor cost, 15. People 19.388 something. So therefore, what's my total actual cost? Let's say what are these values? Total actual cost. People, see, total actual cost 95.388. Yes, people, we are closing our gap, right? See, so therefore target cost gap, let me take this down, cost gap. Now it's, see, target cost is 96, actual cost is 95. So cost gap is 0.61. Now you don't need to worry about this because we are actually, we are producing our unit at a cost that is lower than our target cost. Are we clear? So calculate the blah, 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 whether the target cost is being achieved. Yes, hell yes, it is being achieved. So we can say target cost is being achieved when using the labor cost for the 128th chapter. 95 point, yes, 95.41. Yeah. So what you need to understand is, now here you have a cost gap. There is a difference, but you should not worry about it because target cost is 96. We wanted to achieve a cost of 96. Our actual cost is 95. So no problems. People, are we clear? Are we clear? Any questions? Any questions, people? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we definitely took some time, people, to work this out. My stupid internet also got disconnected, people. There's that. There's always that. Very sorry about that, but I hope that you're clear with target costing as well as learning curve. So I explained two things using the same question, using one question. People, learning curve very important. Now they can plug work in. They can squeeze this learning curve concept into a section C question like this. Right now, this is target costing. You're not going to get questions like this, but learning curves can be squeezed into a section C question just like this. Are we clear? Any questions? Target costing done. Any questions, people? All good. Can you share all these workings? Of course. I will share it on WhatsApp, on the group, right? We'll share everything, right? Okay. Yeah, obviously, guys, you can't show like this level of working in your paper, right? But with practice, you should be able to. That's my point. With practice, you can. Okay, you need to do a lot of questions, people, on Excel, in the computer, not in the book, right? Please don't do sums in the book. It's not value adding, right? For you to add value to yourself, right? As far as this subject is concerned, right? Do the working, everything on Excel. Are we clear? Right. So we finished gadget and big cheese. Right. People, he locked. This is another target costing question. So because we have looked at the proper question on target costing, I'm not going to do this, right? You can try this on your own, right? No big deal. I'm not sure whether I may have looked at this in class. I can't remember. There aren't that many questions for me to look at, right? The reason why I chose target costing this one is because there is learning curve in it, right? Okay. Then we have Edward. Edward is this is again target costing, right? Let's not do life cycle costing. There were life cycle costing. I think we looked at one question in class. Let me see if I can do another one maybe next week. Can we do this? Yeah, throughput accounting, right? So bottlenecks, people. Okay, right. Just a few more minutes to half an hour to finish our class. Yeah, conclude our discussion. So I'm going to straight away to get this question. I'll give you time to work things out. People, this question is on throughput accounting, TPAR. Right. Okay. People, TPAR, remember, it's a costing technique that is used especially in the JIT environment. Right? What's a JIT environment? Just-in-time environment, right? Who introduced this just-in-time environment, people? It was the Japanese, right? It was the Japanese who introduced this JIT, just-in-time, concept. So what does it mean? Yeah, Toyota. Yes, very good. Toyota was the one who pioneered it. Yes. So just-in-time says, don't fill your warehouses with finished products, right? You do the production when you get an order, right? Until that, you wait, right? As soon as you get the order, you start producing things. So if you do that, you're not going to have wastage. You're not going to have any inventory, right? Inventory is one big problem, right? There are benefits to maintaining inventory, but majority are demerits, people, right? So, to basically cut down your inventory, the best solution is JIT, right? But for companies to use JIT, they have to have a proper, very efficient, streamlined production process. They have to have really good, fast suppliers who can supply goods, whenever they get an order, right? For example, let's say I'm getting an order from a customer to produce a product or products, whatever. So I don't have anything. I don't have anything in inventory. So what do? I call my supplier. Look here, I got an order. Send me the stuff. Send me the ingredients. Send me the material. Then the supplier should be able to send it. As fast as possible. Now there will be a bit of a time lag. Obviously, you have to take that into consideration. Your distribution transportation system should be at another level, people, for you to implement JIT, right? Okay, so now in your questions, JIT is not sort of like captured into integrated into the system. Throughput accounting, we say it's used specifically in JIT. It's also becomes helpful. It becomes helpful when you have bottlenecks in your production. What's a bottleneck? Bottleneck is something that prevents you from achieving a higher output. Let's say machine A can handle 300 units, B can handle 300 units, C can handle only 200 units. So no point you putting 300 into A and B, because when you input the items into C can handle only 200. So C is the bottleneck, right? Ideally, C should be removed. But in the short term, we say companies will not have money, capacity to remove the bottleneck, right? For example, machine C will have to be upgraded, or machine C will have to be scrapped or sold to another party, and the company will have to buy another machine altogether, which can handle 300 units. Yes. So we say in the short term, the company doesn't have money to do all that. So you work according to the bottleneck. So this can handle only 200. So you start with 200, 200, 200, 200. Are we clear? Yes. Okay. Yeah, very good. So guys, now in throughput accounting, remember there is one crucial assumption, right? Throughput accounting says the only true variable cost is material. All other costs are fixed. They're called factory overheads, right? Think about it, right? It's very true now. People in management accounting, we say direct labor per hour. Guys, in reality, now you take our country for example, yeah, people who are engaged in manufacturing, they get a per hour rate, right? But that's only like a very small segment in the working population. Yes, majority ends up with a fixed pay, no? Right? You can bust your ass, like work for 7 days, 24/7. You still get the monthly salary. It won't be increased, right? You get OT here and there, but it's usually fixed. No? You get it. You get a fixed pay, no matter what, right? So the only true variable cost in any company, in especially manufacturing companies, is your material cost. Makes sense, no? Makes sense, right? So there you go, people. Yeah. So you say the only true variable cost is your material cost, right? So from the selling price, you minus the material cost. What you get is the throughput contribution. Does that make sense? You get the throughput contribution. Contribution is usually selling price minus variable cost, no? Right? But in throughput, the variable cost is only material, right? So we call it throughput contribution. Understood? Yeah. All of the costs are fixed. Yes, right. Okay. Very good, very good. Okay. So people, yeah, factory overheads. Yes. Now, guys, I'm explaining a hell of a lot, right? Rather than answering the question, I'm like explaining a hell of a lot because this is revision. I need to refresh your memory, right? You only have like a few more weeks, which is more than enough time for you to prep for the exam. But still, as your a lecturer, as the person who's conducting this program, I'm responsible to refresh your memory. More than anything, that's what I want to achieve. Now, these you can answer on your own because the answers are there, right? You can look at the answer. Okay, this is where I went wrong, right? I'm explaining a hell of a lot. I'm talking a lot so that you can remember stuff. Please, take certain things into your mind, right? You can't remember everything, obviously, right? Not possible, but at least something important. If you're getting something out of this session, people, that's so I can say objective achieved, right? Okay. Part A. So throughput accounting, people, it's like I said, it becomes helpful when you have a bottleneck in your process, in your production process, right? So this is the steps now. Now you don't have to remember any of this, right? So I put this so that you can do the question fast, right? Wait, shall we do this? Right. I'm going to walk you through the question, people. Part A, identify the bottleneck process and briefly explain why this process is described as a bottleneck. What a joke, people, right? Why this process is described as a bottleneck? That's nothing. You don't have to look at this. You can say what a bottleneck is just by your memory. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Can we go through this very fast? Part B, calculate the throughput accounting ratio for each product. Blah, blah, blah. Assuming the TPR is less than 1. Okay, you have two other questions. Let's do part A and B first, right? This is YAM. YAM is involved in the process of sheet metal into products ABC using 3 processes: pressing, stretching, rolling. So they have sheet metals, right? They have 3 products, ABC, and these 3 products, they go through 3 different processes: pressing, stretching, rolling. Okay, 3 products, 3 processes. Like many businesses, YAM faces tough price competition in what is a mature world market. Okay, so they are in a mature market people, so metal, they are in this sheet metal market, right? The factory has 50 production lines, of which of production lines, each of which contain 3 processes, right? Raw material for sheet metal is first pressed, stretched, and finally rolled. Okay, people, they have 50 production lines, right? 50 lines. So in each line, you have these 3 processes, right? What are the processes? Pressing, stretching, rolling, right? Okay. The processing capacity the processing capacity varies for each process, and the factory manager has provided the following data, right? Processing time per meter in hours, right? Processing time per meter, okay, in hours. So these are processing times, people. So product A, like I said, goes through 3 different, 3 different processes. Now pressing, stretching, rolling. Product B, same 3 processes. C, same 3 processes. There are 50 lines, people. 50 production lines, right? So this is, this is just one line, people. Like this, there are 50. Yeah, remember that. The factory operates for 18 hours each day for 5 days a week. 18 hours for 5 days. It is closed only for 2 weeks for the year for holidays when maintenance is carried out. On average, 1 hour of labor is needed for each of the 225 hours of factory time. Huh? On average, 1 hour of labor is needed for each of the 225 hours of factory time. Labor is paid 10 per hour. Okay, so you have 225 hours, 225,000 hours of factory time. Okay, raw material cost 3 for product A, 2 for product B, 1.8 for product C. Other factory costs, excluding labor and raw material, are 18 mil per year. Selling prices 70 for A, 60 for B, 27 for C. YAM carries very little inventory. So people, YAM is into jet. That's what you need to understand. Yeah. Okay. Identify the bottleneck process and briefly explain why this process is described as a bottleneck, right? People, 3 marks. This can't be a massive calculation. Yes. This can't be a massive calculation. So just by looking at this, you should be able to understand. What do you think, Peter? What do you think? I'm going to highlight certain things. Anyone? Sorry, guys. Sorry. Right. Okay. So how do I figure this out? People, what do you think? People, you all can see the screen, yes. Can you guys hear me clearly? Right. So, processing time, what is given is time. Higher the time, the slower the process, yes. Higher the time, the slower the process, no? Just 1 second, please. People, I'm very sorry about that. Okay, guys, again, the more the time, the higher the time, the slower the process, yeah. The slower the process, no? Does that make sense? Ilma, Udani? The higher the time, the slower the process. Does that make sense? People, 3 marks, yes. You need to do 2 things. So you're not to calculate anything here, people. That's what you need to understand. People, remember, whenever you tackle a question, look at the mark allocation, right? If it's just 3 marks, 2 marks, 4 marks, you are not required to do a lot, right? Mark allocation is very, very important, right? Now, the other day, some of you now, Ilma, some people wrote answers and, got them corrected by me. So, Ilma, I said not to write a lot, right? You look at the requirement, write to that. Okay. So, yeah, yes, definitely. Pressing should be the bottleneck, people. Pressing should be the bottleneck, no? Right? Look at these 2 other processes, stretching and rolling. You have less time, but pressing, product A requires 0.5 hours, product B requires 0.5, product C 0.4. So a lot of time is needed, no? So that means pressing, that process is taking a lot of time. So that means it's slow. So whenever your processes are slow, it prevents you from doing things faster. So that means less output. No? So pressing should be the bottleneck process. Yeah. So say part A. What do we say? Bottleneck process is pressing. This is because pressing requires a significant processing time compared to other 2 processors, right? And then you say why it's a bottleneck process. So we can say this means pressing process is slower, right? So each of these 3 products taking a lot of time in this pressing, process. So pressing process is slower. right? When a process is slow, the output that can be achieved, you can say, when a process is slow, the rate at which the output is produced is decreased. There you go, people. Something like this. This should be enough. This should be enough. Are we clear? Just 1 second. Get my Excel. Right. People, are we clear? Are we clear, guys? Yeah. Oops, sorry. I need to share that. Are we clear? Everyone okay with the explanation? 3 marks, not a big deal, right? Can we do part B now? Calculate throughput accounting ratio, right? Okay, let's do part B. Throughput accounting ratio, right? So let me highlight this in yellow to indicate that I'm answering part B. Throughput accounting ratio, right? For me to calculate TPAR, I firstly need to find the contributions, no? Right? So we'll say product ABC, yeah? A, B, C. Okay. Firstly, we have to put the selling price. Selling price. What are the selling prices? 70, 60, 27. 70, 60, 27. Yep. Okay. Okay. Right. So what is the throughput? For me to get the throughput contribution, I need to minus the material cost. Yeah. Minus, you can just say raw material. Raw mat. What is the raw mat cost, people? Raw material 3, 2, and 1.8. No, per meter. Per meter. Per meter. Right. Raw material cost is per meter. It's blah blah blah. Okay. B. Can you do it, people? Right. Raw material, let me say throughput contribution. Then what do you need to do? And what do you need to do? So this is a bottleneck. So you identify the throughput contribution per unit of bottleneck. No, so bottleneck resource. I'll say bottleneck time. Right. Then you find throughput contribution per bottleneck. And then only you do the ranking. Can do this? Can do this, people? Right. Okay, I'll show you the format. Right. So you guys do the calc. Oh my God, my keys are always getting locked. No, how do I unlock my data? Right. Raw material cost 3, 2.5, 1.8. 3, 2.5, 1.8. Right. Throughput contribution, this minus this. 67, 57, 25.2. Bottleneck time. I know bottleneck time is basically my pressing process. No? Pressing. Right. Pressing. So product A requires 0.5, B 0.5, C 0.4. Okay. So 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and 0.4. Right. Throughput contribution. This divided by this now 134, 115, and 63. There you go. Now, people, in throughput, before you do the ranking, right? Now, this is my throughput contribution per bottleneck time, per bottleneck resource, per bottleneck, yeah, per bottleneck time. Yeah. Are we clear up to this point, people? Everyone clear up to this point? Right now, in a normal, bottleneck, in limiting factor analysis, right? This is what you do. No, once you find the contribution per limiting factor, then you do the rankings. No, right now, here before you do the rankings, you need to do something else, people. What is that? Now, see, this is how you calculate your where is now, see, calculate the throughput accounting ratio for each product. Yeah, throughput accounting ratio is return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. So I found the return throughput contribution, right? I found the return per factory hour. So I divided the throughput contribution by the bottleneck constraint. So this numerator I've already found in my throughput accounting ratio. Are we clear on that? Are we clear on that? Everyone okay with that? Clear. Right. Okay. So return per factory hour, that is done. So in throughput accounting, when calculating throughput accounting ratio, right, you have to have the same table that you have in normal limiting factor questions, right? So you find the contribution per bottleneck time. Okay, that's done. This is the numerator. Now I need to find the denominator, people. What is the denominator? See, cost per factory hour. How the hell do I find this? Look at this. Cost per factory hour is total factory cost divided by total time. Right. Okay. Let's see. We'll find the cost per factory hour. Let's do that working somewhere here. I'll do cost per factory hour here. Right. Cost per factory hour. Right. What do they say, people? Total cost something 18 mil, no? What is that? No. Other factory costs, excluding labor and raw material, 18 million, right? Right? You can say other factory costs, 18 million, yeah? 18 million. Okay. Now, this is excluding material and labor. We can't anyway take material because material is captured in our contribution. But we need to identify the labor cost. Labor cost. How do I find the labor cost? How do I find the labor cost? Here they tell you labor needed is 225 hours of factory time, right? 2.2, very good, yes. So we have 224 total factory hours, right? So on average, 1 hour of labor is needed for 225 hours. So 1 hour. So 1 into 225 hours, that's your total direct labor hours, right? Say labor cost, direct labor hours, how much? 225,000. Again, people, if you don't understand that, look at this. On average, now the wording is very, very confusing, people. Yeah, on average, 1 hour of labor is needed for each of the 225 hours of factory time. Now, 1 labor hour is needed for each, right? For every 200, for every hour of this 225,000 hours. So therefore, direct labor hour is 1 into 225,000 hours, people. That's why 225 hours, 225,000 hours. So I know direct labor cost per hour. That's how much? 10, no? So therefore, total labor cost is this into this, no? 2.25 million, yes. Multiply this by 10. Right. So therefore, what's my total factory cost? Total factory cost. Total factory cost is this plus this. That's 20,250,000 people, right? There you go. This is my total factory cost. Now I need the factory cost per hour, right? So I know total factory cost is this much. Total hours, people, I just found that 225,000. No? So cost per factory hour this divided by the total hours. How much is this? 90. Are we clear, people? Are we clear? Are we clear? This is the cost per factory hour. Very good. People, now they tell you all this confusing information. Don't get bogged up, right? Now, I can prove this 225,000 by doing a small multiplication, but no need. If you read the question like with a clear mind, you realize, okay, you'll understand, okay, 225,000, yes. This is for each product. Yes. So we now from the bottleneck, see throughput accounting ratio. Think about it. Okay, Ilma, good question. Ilma is asking whether this is the cost for each product. Yeah, no, because it's fixed. Ilma, do you get it? We say our factory costs are fixed, no? Right? For each, it's 90. Are we clear? Are we clear? That's a good question. So now we'll put the factory cost here, right? Factory cost per hour. It's 90, no? 90. 90. Oops. 90. Yes, return per factory hour is different, Ilma. Factory cost, we say, except for material, all other costs are fixed, no? So, whether you do anything or not, this is a reason. Does that make sense? Right? The return is going to be different based on my bottleneck, no? There you go. the return is going to be different based on the bottleneck, right? So I found the contribution, then I divided it by the bottleneck. No, people, are we clear? Yumna, are you following this? Akram, Udani, Fatima, are you following this? Right? Now I can calculate the throughput accounting ratio. No? So this is the numerator, this is the denominator. I divide 134 by 90. 1.49, 1.28, 0.7. People, are we clear? Right? Very good, very good. Okay. That was a good question, Ilma. How come this is fixed? Because we assume all other costs except material are fixed. Only in this throughput accounting context. Right? Now I can do the ranking. Ranking. First, second, third, obviously. Right? This is useless. Why is that, people? Guys, now you have to understand here what you have is the contribution, here what you have is the fixed cost. So from your contribution, it's like there's no selling price minus variable cost. Selling price, let's say 100, variable cost is 50. The difference is contribution, right? Contribution is 50. Then from your contribution, you need to minus the fixed cost. No, let's say fixed cost is 30. This is your profit. No, profit is 20. Do you get this? Right? Do you get this, people? Right. Yeah. Now, see, when I calculate my throughput accounting ratio, I'm looking at my contribution, which is this, and I'm looking at my fixed cost. Right? So I can clearly see that my contribution is much higher than my fixed cost in product A, right? Same case with product B, but different case with product C, people, right? So people, throughput accounting ratio is basically your profit, right? It shows your profit. Does that make sense? Yes, yes, very good. So obviously, blah blah, assuming that, so part B is done, assuming that TPR of product C is less than 1. What a joke, people. We know it's less than 1. It is less than 1, right? I know why your examiner says assuming less than 1. Maybe, he's trying to like play cruel mind tricks on your, like, during the exam, like hours, people, right? 3 hours. So examining is very tricky, people, right? With the language and with terms like this, he's playing cruel mind tricks, right? That's what I call them. Don't become a victim, right? Don't become a victim, right? Don't get bogged up like in these wording and all that, people. Just read it, right? If you don't understand something, that's okay. You read the next line, then you might be able to understand, whatever that was there in the previous line. Yeah. Okay. So assuming the TPR of C is less than 1, which is obviously the case, right? Increasing. Yeah. Explain how YAM could improve. What a joke. Let's see. Part C. Okay, we can clearly see TPAR of product C is 0.7. This means the product is not profit making. No, not profit making, right? Its contribution is less than the fixed cost, right? Meaning contribution is less than the fixed cost. There you go. Yeah. So what can we do to improve this, speaker? What can we do? Yeah. What can we do? Increase selling price. Okay. Increase selling price. Okay. Ilma, increasing selling price is an easy solution, but law of demand. Higher the price, lower the demand. right? Bit of a problem. No, yes, you can increase. It's definitely a solution. Speed up, yeah, definitely. We can increase the selling price. That's a potential. That's that's a valid answer for sure, right? If the selling price can be increased, can be increased, uh, can be increased. Selling price can be increased. Let me say increasing selling price. Increasing selling price can be a solution. However, this may have a detrimental. What the hell is that? Detrimental as in a negative impact. A detrimental impact on the demand for it. So you're giving a solution as well as you're saying, okay, there might be a bit of a problem in this solution. They mentioned they're in a tough price competition. Very good. Yes. So increasing selling price is not a good answer. Solid, Yumna. Thank you for highlighting that. Yes, very good. So you writing this might not be very value-adding because they're saying they're in a very price competitive market. No, yeah, so this wouldn't work, right? So Ilma, let's not write that. Increasing selling price, they're in a tough price, competitive market. No. What else? What can we say? Very good, huh? Very good. What can we do? Yeah, try to so here how much labor is taking up. Their selling price is pretty low, no, for product C. Reduce fixed cost. Yeah, I mean the selling price of C is pretty low, right? 27. Does that make sense? Selling price of C is very low. Now you can come up with some solution, people. Yeah, try to buy cheap material. Right? You can bring your material cost down. Use semi-skilled labor, something. Semi-skilled labor, right? Reduce fixed cost. Yeah, when you say, yeah, solutions like these are the ones that you can suggest, no? Right? Use semi-skilled labor, something, so that you can bring your labor cost down. Are we clear? Yeah. Speed up the bottleneck process. Now, that is the problem, Ilma, right? Now, to speed it up, right? The only solution is to get rid of it, right? So that's not a good solution, I mean, it is definitely a solution in the long term, right? So for you to speed this up, the pressing process, this machine, this entire process must be, I don't know, like streamlined. Do you understand that? Are you clear? Right? Come up with logical answers, people. That's my point. Yeah. In the long term, okay, we can say something like that. In the long term, company can consider streamlining as in making the process more efficient, streamlining the pressing process. Okay, are we clear? Dani, Ilma, Yumna, are we clear? Right? Okay, so provide brief explanations, people, right? Brief explanations. If you buy cheap material, yeah, using cheap material is definitely cost friendly, but ultimate quality is going to be somewhat affected. No, same case with skilled labor. Yeah, consider about other factory costs since all products are same. Yeah, bring your other factory costs down. Yeah, because it's common, they say that 18 million something is the factory cost, no? So you'll have to do a breakdown, no? You'll need a breakdown of this, right? And maybe, see how these costs are arisen and try to come up with a way to reduce it, something like that. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Any answer, anything practical. People, they're giving you the entire factory cost of 18 million. Get a breakdown, right? How is this made up of, right? Maybe if we break it down, like we'll be able to, like, come up with something to reduce some of those. Very practical answer. Very good. Okay, part C2, C1 and C2. Let's do C2 now. Taking a little bit of more time, people. I'm very sorry. We'll do C2. What's C2? Briefly discuss whether this supports a suggestion to cease the production of C, and briefly outline other three factors that YAM should consider before a cessation decision is taken. This is very practical question, people. Briefly discuss whether this supports the suggestion to cease the production. People, now if you look at product C, right? Product C has a very low price, no? Right? Its price is very low compared to A and B. So might be now, the contribution is 24, 25, right? So, very low contribution compared to B, right? So, they're asking, should we produce this, right? Or should we not? If you say that we have to cease the production of C, what other factors do you have to consider, right? So guys, now, you need to state the facts, right? Product C has a significantly lower, not relatively, significantly lower price compared to A and B, and therefore a low contribution, right? Right, a low contribution. Okay, so because now we can say you can't increase the price of product C because you're in a price competitive market, right? Increasing the price of C may not be a solution because the company is operating in a price competitive market. Yeah. Therefore, so you can say, maybe, getting rid of C could be, it makes sense. But guys, now you have to understand, if you can do something about this processing, bottleneck, activity, maybe you might not have to get rid of this C, no? Do you understand that, right? So you can say, if the company can get remove the bottleneck and make processing time more efficient, maybe C will generate a higher contribution, no? Higher contribution, yes. But then again, people, will be, still the contribution will be low, no? Does that make sense? So you argue back and forth, people. Argue back and forth. See, briefly discuss, no? Discuss. So you, you're not trying to provide one solid answer, right? You need to look at different aspects. Yeah. Argue back and forth. You're saying, okay, maybe if I do this, can become, successful, but then again, still the contribution is very low. So can we look at, yes, of course. That's why they're asking you to talk about these other three factors, right? You know what? We can say, I'll keep this. However, if the company is to discontinue the product, then there will be other non-financial factors to be considered. What kind of non-financial factors? Huh? What can we say, people? People, you have a plethora of answers. Can we say if we seize, then bottleneck time can be used for about can be used for the other two products? Yes, you can say that. Yeah, definitely. Like what? But now you're planning to customer reaction based on device. Yeah, exactly. Now, Ilma, more than talking about this bottleneck and how the time can be used to make more of the other two units, you need to talk about the overall impact, no? Right? Like suddenly you're canceling one of your products. That can have negative impacts. No? So some people might like that product C that you're producing. So they are going to get dissatisfied, right? If these are like products which are used like with one another, like alongside each other, so you don't have C. You go to a shop where you want to buy three things, right? You go to a shop, you see only two products. You don't buy them. You go to a place where you can buy all three from just one place. Does that make sense? So yes, customers, reaction, that can be a bit of a problem. Now, when you discontinue C, you're going to end up with a lot of people. You will not need that many people for you to produce A and B. What are you going to do with those, like extra labor? Are you going to fire them? Are you going to like hire them in B and A? Right? So many things are there for you to consider, people. Do you understand this? Again, guys, no standard answer. As long as your answer is practical, you get marks. People, whenever they say discuss, yeah, argue back and forth, right? Pros and cons. Something here you can't talk about pros and cons because you're not looking at two things. No, here you're looking at an event. What is the event? You canceling the product. So how can that impact the business, right? So I'm just going to like briefly outline certain things. What will the company do with labor who used to do B, right? What will the company do with unsatisfied customers, right? I mean, you're going to have unsatisfied customers, right? Especially if it's like, a product that is used with, alongside the other two products. Yeah. Three other factors now. What else? They're in a very competitive market, no? They're in a very competitive market. So you canceling a product, what is the overall impact on your profits, right? Since the market is competitive, canceling a product can have a bigger negative impact, or we can say it like, nice terms, can have a significant detrimental impact on the survival, on the profitability and survival. you know, profitability and survival. Survival of the company. People, are we clear? Are we clear? I mean, we looked at so many things within these 3.5 hours, whatever. I mean, we looked at number of things, not just the costing techniques. Yeah, I'm teaching you how to think, teaching you how to answer. People, I want you to learn from my answers. Now, I'm just coming up with these, spontaneously. Not that I looked at the examiner's answers, right? You can check the examiner's answers, right? This is a professional program, right? Not like a degree. In degrees, you have to remember certain things. You have to, even in this course, you have to remember stuff, but you're not to parrot things. It's application. Even in academic programs, that's what they check for. But here, there's no one right answer, people. As long as you answer practical, you get marks. Are we clear? Yeah, people, are we clear? This was a good question, people. Yeah, all three were good questions. Are we clear? Any questions from the areas that we covered? So we looked at 3 costing techniques, no? Target costing, ABC, and throughput accounting. So we only have to look at life cycle costing. We'll do a small question on that next week. Are we clear? So next week, I'm going to, focus on, I think I'll be looking at, break-even analysis, limiting factors, and all those. Right? That's what I want to look at next week. People, are we clear? Any questions? Any questions? Akram, Fatima, Ilma, Dani, Yumna, any questions, guys? This is like a small individual class, no? Only 6 people. Right? So get the maximum views out of me. Please ask questions. Any doubts before we wind up for today? I'm sorry, I dragged the class. All good, all good. Did you learn something from this session? Right? Was it value adding? Was it value adding, people? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So should we, okay, brilliant. Should we do something to improve the session in the next class? Right? What should I do to make it more efficient? What do you think, guys? I'll take your suggestions now. Yeah, Ilma, what do you think? Ilma, any suggestions? You prefer this? Okay, cool. Yumna? Anyone? Akram? Any suggestions, Donnie? No? Okay, all good, people. So there are 3 other questions, people, which I, this is another question on target costing. Now, within 3 hours, people, the maximum that we can do is actually 3 questions, and we have done those 3 questions. We can't do more, but I have selected some, good, questions where you have to think a bit into these handouts. So you try these whenever you are free. Now, this is coupled with what you call relevant costing. Target costing is coupled with relevant costing in this question, people, right? Please have a look at this. I might not have the time to look at all these questions, because you try these on your own, right? First, you attempt this without looking at the answer, right? Time it and see what you can do in Excel, right? Not in the book, right? Do it in Excel. You might not be able to show the working this with this much clarity, people. That's okay, as long as you leave lines, bold, highlight, do something, right? It should the working should look pleasant on the eyes of the examiner, people. Are we clear? These are minor things that you're going to master only if you do the workings, answers, typing on Excel, right? So start from today. You have enough and more time, people. Okay, right. So if you don't have any questions, people, we'll wind up. I hope you honestly got something out of this session. Try the questions on your own. If you do have any doubts, please let me know. I'll answer them, even during class, not an issue, right? Okay, okay. And we'll stop with that, people. Right, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Abdul. Right, thank you, man. Right, really appreciate it. Bye. Good night, guys. Good night.